Is it time to reimagine your future? The right business skills may make a difference in your career. At Capella University, we offer a relevant education that's designed to focus on what you need to know in the business world. We'll teach professional skills to help you pursue your goals, like business management, strategic planning, and effective communication. And you can apply these skills right away. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
You're listening to Achtung, Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. You join me on a cold, wet, grey afternoon here in South East London. The stand is beautifully floodlit. Visitors, of course, top of the table, Sunderland, serious contenders. Just 2 defeats all season for the Black Cats. The Lions, you want the good news or the bad news? The good news is we're here. The bad news, no Jake Cooper this afternoon, dear listeners. Your Lions team, Luke Jensen in goal, Ryan Leonard. Sean Hutchinson takes Jake Cooper's place in defence. Jeff Tanganga and Joe Bryant across the defensive line. Jules Saville, Casper Denor in the defensive 2. The attacking 3, Jules Hunneman, Romain Esse, Duncan Watmore this afternoon up front. Jake Cooper. Bad news with Jake Cooper. Word in the car park is he's out for some 10 weeks. Whether that's accurate info or whether that's going to await the medical assessment, I would imagine that would be the latter. But never good news. Big game this afternoon, top of the table, Sunderland, dear listeners. Bit of a litmus test for me as to how well we can do, given the evident lack of depth in our squad. We're down to Sean Hutchinson, who returned from that strange departure and come back again signing in the summertime. Do we have the depth to really sustain this improbable run that we've been on recently? We'll see. Good draw up at Stoke 2 weeks ago after that endless international break, but we are up against it this afternoon. It's a very good side indeed, dear listeners. Sunderland wearing their traditional fantastic kit, red and white stripes, black shorts, red stockings. The Lions, of course, in their traditional dark blue and white. Good atmosphere building, dear listeners. I did see we were down to the last 1,000 tickets. I haven't seen any official notification of a sellout. There are seats I can see at the cold blow end in the corner. Certainly in the back row here up in block 1, a few dotted around the Docker stand, so it won't be a sellout, but it will be a big crowd here this afternoon. Apparently 3,000 travelling Wearsiders have come down for this game. Fairly stiff breeze blowing across the stadium. The 3 flags opposite on the top of the Docker stand are fluttering proudly in the breeze. The Union flag, the St George's Cross, and of course the Central Club flag. And here we are, it's going to be Millwall to kick us off, attacking the away end in the first half, as per the Dixon's teachings and writing to the Venerable Bede, writing at Jarrow Monastery back in Anglo-Saxon times. He laid it down then, it still applies now. Millwall attack the away end in the first half. Casper Denor kicks us off, dear listeners. Away we go. Yeah, Sean Hutchinson, man of depth and experience. Clearly, Neil Harris trusts him to take on this role this afternoon. We're going to miss Jake Cooper if he's out for that length of time, though, dear listeners. You don't need me to tell you that. Driving over here, I was listening to the rest of his history, a great history podcast for those that love that kind of thing. Talk about Lord Nelson and his leadership skills. We're going to be needing similar leadership skills this afternoon. This is a hot atmosphere in the den, dear listeners. Not that I'd compare it with the Battle of Trafalgar, of course, but you know what I mean. Long ball forwards, there's Josh Coburn that's going to be headed backwards. The goalkeeper will collect, keeps it just short of the corner flag there. Millwall structurally excellent, says the South London Press, in their 1-0 victories over Burnley and then Leeds prior to the internationals. But Sunderland, as dear listeners, just to cheer you up still more, Sunderland are joint second for the most away points in the division with 14 away points this season so far. As Neil Harris says though, Lord Nelson style, we don't fear anybody at a Den. Coburn already in a battle with the central defence of the Sunderland back line. Loose ball there gives Sunderland a chance to come down the left. Good work by Joe Bryan, much maligned player, but done well there. I was shaking the bucket for the Melzer appeal outside the ground earlier on this afternoon, dear listeners, and as many of you may have seen on X, I had the pleasure of meeting Bobby T. Big shout out to Bobby T, a unique character. Lovely bloke actually, Bobby. Nice to say hello to him. I think the 26 in the central defence for Sunderland has come down with the intention to show that he's not going to be pushed around at the Lions' Den, dear listeners. That's Dan Ballard there, isn't he, at number 5. I'm asking you like you can see it. Free kick Sunderland, nice take and turn, but looks like that's Denor being penalised. The physical harassment on their forward there. It's a left-sided free kick, probably about 4 or 5 yards short of the corner of the left side of the penalty area. 9 minutes. Nice early chance then for Sunderland to get the ball into the melee. Ticking towards the 10th minute now. The brouhaha. In it comes. It's a deep one. Edge of the penalty area is a shot. 1-0. Caught on the volley. Nice finish by the D. Bottom right-hand corner of the goal. 1-0 Sunderland, dear listeners. 10 minutes in. That's a blow, dear listeners. They're up against it already. We're doubly up against it now. Nice finish. Not done as much that Jensen could have done with it. I haven't seen it. Back again, the angle where I stand. That doesn't really give me a great view of the replay. It's a fairly tight pack now in block 1. It's filled up as the game's gone along. So I'll have to have a look at that post-match. This is a decent side, dear listeners. As we've said, they've only been beaten twice all season. Form coming into this game, last 6 games they've had 3 wins and 3 draws. 3 draws in succession. 31 points, top of the table as we enter today's round of fixtures. Lions, of course, in 8th position as we speak. Well, certainly before today's game anyway. Thanks to that incredible run of form of late. But this is a tough one, as we've said a few times. Ball stuck down the Millwall end at the moment. Ball into the danger zone. Near post shot there taken nicely by Lucas Jensen down low. 16 minutes. Under a bit of a cosh at the minute. Dear listeners, we need to get the ball forwards and keep it at their end for a spell. But at the moment we are under pressure. 17 going towards 18 minutes. Going to goal down at the moment. Ball flashes into the melee. Is a great save there by Lucas Jensen in the midst of a sea of bodies, and arms and legs, limbs. Reminded me of the old Andy Capp fight scenes in the old Andy Capp cartoon. Arms and legs and a load of confusion in the middle. All I could see was Lucas Jensen taking the ball very, very well. With another chance there for Sunderland. We are really hanging on for grim death at the minute, dear listeners. 18 minutes. Neil Harris speaking before this game, speaking to the South London press, said we want to go and humble another huge football club. So far it's Lions are being humbled at the minute. We've not really shown much at all, in truth, going forwards. And there's been every man to the pumps in defence. So, as he says here, though, that Sunderland are top of the league for a reason. I think we've seen that reason so far in this game. 15 games in, it's a fair reflection, says Neil Harris. What more with a poor ball forwards there? We're not really clicking going forwards at the minute, dear listeners. Bit of restiveness amongst the Millwall crowd. Ticking towards 30 minutes, dear listeners. We've slightly looked to get ourselves back into a game that was largely looking outside our reach, but we've had a few moments of moderate. Just as I said that, Casper Denor puts it straight into touch. Commentator's curse. Moderate intent, I was going to say, just as he put it straight out. There's Coburn. Free kick conceded, unfortunately, down in front of us. Mill free kick. It's going to be Honeyman. Joe Bryan standing over it. 35 minutes. In it comes. It's a deep one. Tanganga gets his head to it. It's cleared. There was a bit of hope there. We do seem to be winning balls that are put in the correct areas inside that Sunderland penalty area. Tanganga and Hutchinson both have got their head first to the ball. Law forced a nice throw-in down below us in block 1, left side. Joe Bryan and the crowd something to get behind. Another free kick drawn by George Honeyman. Left-sided free kick then. Nicely flighted, it's touched by Coburn and put behind by the 15, sorry. He seemed to hurt his back as he landed. That was surely a corner, but not, offside given by the linesman. Nicely flighted ball though. That's the way forwards, dear listeners. I had a little wander shaking my bucket earlier on around the Spitfire bar over on the far side of the Coldblow end. It's quite nice in there, listeners. It was quite packed. The security were only able to let people one in as one came out, but they let me in with my bucket. But quite pleasant in there, I liked it. Well done, club, for setting up these facilities. Lovely flick header on from Coburn, trying to find Watmore. Offside again. That linesman's drawing some comment from the Dockers stand, dear listeners. Coburn in the right battle there with that 26, dear listeners, draws the free kick at last. Tripped as he was battling against the big central defender there. He's been in a physical tussle all game so far, doing well. Draws a free kick there, we're on 39 minutes. It's a central, about halfway inside the Sunderland half, just slightly left of centre, I suppose. Darkness falling as we await this, taken short. This is Joe Bryan now leftwards. This is George Honeyman that floats it in. That's too long. Waste of an opportunity. There we are. Hello, there's something in the crowd over on the far side. I don't know what that is. Medical situation. I don't know what's going on, listeners. Game is paused and the players are going to the side. We'll stop recording. Well, after a fairly extensive break in play, dear listeners, the players have come back out onto the pitch, I'm glad to say. What's the time now? It's now 4:10. We had about 4 minutes to play at the end of that half. There was a medical emergency over in the East Lower. I saw a chap being taken away in a kind of a wheeling, a bed. In the end, he seemed to be sitting up, but I'm not going to speculate any further. And then coincidentally, we had a situation downstairs here near Block 1. I don't know what that was. I didn't want to go looking and, imposing myself on someone else's situation. But there was a medical situation downstairs here. So anyway, it is 4:10. So there's about, 25-minute break in play. Players are out now doing a bit of loosening up, a bit of warming up. It's going to be strange to restart for 4 minutes and then whatever added time there might be. I don't know. It wasn't the awful lot in that first half. Then they take a half-time break. Sometimes I think maybe like in cricket, you could take an early tea or something, But anyway, we'll see. Overall assessment of Millwall's half up until the break in proceedings, I thought we've been fairly poor, to be honest with you. We've looked very much second best to Sunderland, who've looked very sharp, clearly top of the table sides. 2 defeats, I think, coming into today's game. You can see why. I think they look pretty good. One of the better teams I've seen down there. We've, by contrast, they look very drab and dreary. Loose passes and second best all round. So hopefully this break in play may benefit us. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So we have the referee out, we have the football out, we're just clearing the pitch. And we're ready to go. I don't know how we're going to assess how much time there is yet to go, dear listeners. By my watch, there's about 4 minutes left of that first half. So maybe we'll play 5 minutes worth and then come off for half time. I guess, I don't know, we'll see. We're back underway with a throw from the halfway line now. So far in this game, we've looked a little bit like the boy in the playground where you've got your hand on his forehead and he's swinging punches that are going nowhere near you. But we are in possession. Romain now on the right side of the Sunderland penalty. A little inside move. That's fired in by Casper Ganor. Throwing again, bit of Millwall pressure. Late in the half. There's half time. Okay. Not much to report there. A little bit of Millwall pressure. Nothing decisive. That's been the story of that first half. We really do need to raise our game, dear listeners. if we're going to have any expectation to get anything out of this half, I think Sunderland have looked decidedly better than us. And as my metaphor had it, like a little boy in the playground swinging punches that won't go anywhere near the bigger boy. Half time, Millwall 0, Sunderland 1.
Achtung, Millwall.
This episode is brought to you by Etsy.
Oh.
Hear that?
Okay. Thank you.
Etsy knows these aren't the sounds of holiday gifting. Well, not the ones you're hoping for. You want squeals of delight. Happy tears.
How did you?
And spontaneously written songs of joy.
I am so happy. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, the song needs a bit of work, but anyway, to get those reactions, make sure everyone on your list feels heard with handmade, handpicked, and designed gifts from small shops on Etsy. Gifts like personalized jewelry, custom artwork, cozy style items, vintage pieces, and home decor to celebrate all of your favorite people and their specific kind of special. For original gifts that say, I get you, Etsy has it.
This episode is brought to you by NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. There's plenty to be thankful for. Your friends, family, and the fact that you can now get NFL Sunday Ticket for only $89. So thank yourself this holiday season and watch every game every Sunday when you bundle NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. Sign up now at youtube.com/Sunday Ticket. Offer ends December 2nd. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
Way to eat a tea. You're listening to an ad for PC Game Pass. Want new games on day one like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? How about living out your Sims life with EA Play? We're talking high-quality PC games all for one low monthly price. We got you. Learn more at xbox.com/PC Game Pass or click the banner. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle available December 9th, 2024. Game catalog varies by region and over time. Okay, that's the ad. You can go back to doing whatever you were doing now.
Players are out on the pitch for the second half, dear listeners. Looks like we're bringing on Tom Bradshaw. I don't know who for. I think it might be Honeyman. Yeah, it is Honeyman coming out. Bradshaw comes in. I'm going to guess that makes it a front two. We need to do something because really we've not been in the game at all in those two sections that we had first half. Second half is just about to kick off with Sunderland attacking it away. Millwall will be attacking a cold blow as per the Venerable Bede's teachings. Away we go. There was a lady downstairs who had a medical situation as well over here in the West Stand. So thoughts to both fans and the East Lower and the lady downstairs. This is Sunderland straight on there. Looks like a handball there, surely. No? He's got away with that one. Checks inside. If he get a shot away, we'll feel very cheated. That was a nice stinging tackle there on the forward as Millwall pump it forwards. Unfortunately, that's going to go over the top of the goalkeeper. He's chasing it back into the corner. Poorly judged. That was Dan Ballard. Little rush of blood to the head there. Put it over his own goalkeeper's head there into for a left-sided corner. Millwall inside the first minute of the second half. 46 minutes. In it comes. It's deep, deep, deep. There's a header from Tanganga just over the bar. That's better. Mill's best chance of the game so far. This is Sunderland on the break now. That's nicely cut out by Tanganga. Coburn and Bradshaw now as our front two. Oh, he's taken down there. That's got to be he's given the free kick the other way. How did he see that? To the outrage of the den, dear listeners. Coburn clearly taken down by a defender. And I speak as an unbiased, fair-minded judge. I hope you would agree, dear listeners. Somehow the referee saw fit to give it the other way. 49 minutes. Piece in City AM the other day saying about how the kids nowadays don't like to watch whole games. They don't have the attention span to watch a whole game of football or anything else, it seems. What they do watch are clips, online clips of the action. So it's like a kind of goal fest. That's the future of sport, it seems, for the mainstream providers. This is Mill coming down the left side. Romain Esse. Ball into the box. Cleared by the Sunderland defence. Left-sided cross there. Yes, all the kids want to do is watch clips and they follow personalities rather than teams, apparently, listeners. This is the future of sport. I remain an old fart, and I do not accept that that's the way sport should be. But anyway, there we are. We'll feed it across. Ryan Leonard on the right side. He's got Romain Esse, lovely little back heel tank there. Lovely little work there with Tom Bradshaw. He gets clipped there. It's going to be a free kick as he tried to drift inside. Lovely little bit of combination work with Tom Bradshaw there, dear listeners. More of that, please, Romain and Tom. So it's a Millwall free kick. Danger position. 2 or 3 yards short of the penalty area. Left right side. Probably about 3 yards in from the right corner. Joe Bryan, Jules Saville standing over it. 52 minutes and it comes. This is Joe Bryan. It floats in, headed over the bar in close range. Who was that? That looked like Tom Bradshaw. Oh, high over the bar in the event. 53 minutes, long ball forwards for Coburn to chase up. It falls to Duncan Watmore. He gets clattered. Coburn takes and turns, shoots from distance. Dipping low shot, battered away by the goalkeeper well at the right post, lower. Ball in again, it's gone for a corner. Right side, left-sided corner, bit of Millwall pressure. Crowd responding, dear listeners. Misty rain sweeping across the den. It is Storm Burt tonight, isn't it? Which causes me a titter because that was my old dad's name. We had Storm Burt living with us for a few years towards the end of his life. This is Sunderland on the break, big chance here. Going cutting in, that's a great stop down low from the 12. Good stop by Lucas Jensen, dear listeners. Coburn getting manhandled out there. The referee not seeing any of it. It's like Jake Cooper syndrome, isn't it? Some players, it seems, he lets it run there though, in fairness to him. This is Tom Bradshaw now on the right side. He gets bundled over. Nothing doing there. He's letting play flow. I think it's a man's game at the moment, dear listeners. Great work by Joe Bryan and Tanganga there, combining to dispossess the 12 as he was breaking. Game was really livened up, listeners, after that rather drab first half from a Millwall perspective. This is more blood and thunder now, listeners. This is what we like. We like a bit of brimstone and treacle here at the Den, don't we? This is Romain on the left side. We're still searching for an equaliser, of course. Ryan Leonard inside him. We're spreading play nicely. Tanganga. This is Saville. Well, it's Coburn. Couldn't scuff his shot. Goalkeeper collected there, listeners. "63 minutes, dear listeners. Sunderland starting to feel the heat a little bit now. They're making mistakes and errors, and we're turning the heat up on them. We were desperately searching for that equalising goal. We look a lot more lively in the second half. That's the good news to report. We're approaching the halfway point, 66 minutes, halfway point of the second half, dear listeners. Mill have certainly turned up the pressure on Sunderland with the two-man forward line approach. More heat being put onto the Sunderland defence, but no clear-cut chances as yet. Coburn being manhandled. It's gone down injured, so's the defender. So that was a physical confrontation. Two defenders, physical confrontation for the ages there, dear listeners. Big shout out to listener Dermot McGrath, who I saw outside as well earlier on. Bobby T and Dermot McGrath. Nice to say hello to you both, chaps. SA dispossesses a chance for Sunderland to break forward. It's a fantastic last-ditch challenge there by Jeff Tanganga and clearance by Sean Hutchinson. The moment there, I thought Sunderland were through on goal. Joe Bryan draws the free kick left side. Will we see Femi Aziz at some stage soon, dear listeners? There was an article in the South London where he talks about his adjustment period. Is it taking time to adjust to the pace of the Championship and how much faster it is in League One from League One? Nice piece, actually. I think he's been really, really effective player of late. He's not seen him yet in this match. We will see him at all. You'd think we would do, given that we're still chasing the game. Midweek trip to Pompey coming up, of course. Always a big game. Millwall versus Pompey down at Fratton Park. And then we're away at Oxford United, Kassam Stadium next Saturday. Not quite a morning, 12:30 kickoff. Not quite a morning kickoff. You know what I mean. The corner count for Millwall in the second half has been lopsided compared with the first. We seemed to barely make a scratch on Sunderland in that opening period, but the two-man forward line has certainly helped our offensive play. This is Romain Essa's another right-sided corner. Essa combining with Denor. Shot on goal down low and hard. The goalkeeper was equal to it. Good chance there, Millwall, but the goalkeeper was strongly down now. 72, 73 minutes. Rain sheeting down here at the Den, listeners. Looks like here comes Femi Aziz. It's going to be Duncan Watmore that comes out. 73rd minute. Good performance from Watmore. He's improved in the second half. First half I thought quite ineffective, but second half he's been taking more of a chance with some of his moves and looked quite good. Here's Aziz in. Yeah, it mentions a big step up from Reading League One football to Championship. How he's taken time to find his feet, which I think we can all understand. Coburn coming out. In comes Ivanovic, dear listeners. Mihailo Ivanovic. Capped by Serbia in the week, full international. It was a 0-0 draw in the Nations League. So big congratulations to Mihailo, capped for his country. It's been a second half of Millwall pressure, dear listeners. So far, no reward for that pressure. But it certainly brought the crowd into play in this second period in a way that it just wasn't so in the first half. Lovely little interchange. Bradshaw finding Essa. Bradshaw now on the right side was dispossessed at the last by the Sunderland defence, unfortunately. Also understanding between Tom Bradshaw and Romain Essa, which is interesting, isn't it? 88 minutes, dear listeners. Game feels like it's drifting away from us a little bit now. Been a decent second half by Millwall without any real clear-cut chances, I suppose. A couple of shots on target the goalkeeper was equal to, but a lot of pressure. But then this is a decent side, in all honesty. I think Sunderland have shown their mettle this afternoon. Probably the price of that poor first half, really, from Mill was a little bit too heavy overall for us. There's still a few minutes of this to go, but we'll see. Two more subs, Macaulay Langstaff and Aidamoe Marku coming in. Who's that coming out? That's Saville coming out. It looks like Hutchinson's coming out. It's going to be an all-out attack, an Ian Holloway style, haunted house style attack. He claimed this week that Swindon Town's poor form under his management has been due to his training ground facilities being haunted like ghosts. Happy days. Not. 5 minutes out of time, taken short. This is Romain. He gets a ball in deep. There's header from Tanganga that seemed to go across the face of the goal, and it's gone through to the goalkeeper. Chance there, dear listeners. This is Sunderland pressing forwards now. Good tackle there. That's taken away by Aziz. Trying to thread the ball through to Bradshaw. It's back into the red and white possession, unfortunately. That's a great move there by Tanganga. They do keep possession on the left side, unfortunately. Launched forward from Jensen. It's unfortunately falling to red and white striped shirts each time at the moment. This is a chance. Those are the 30. Shot on goal. Great stop by Lucas Jensen there. That was a late chance. Left-sided shot from the 30. Surging into the area, what can he do? Ball across the face of the goal. Yeah! There he is! Late! Ball across from the left side, finds Femi Aziz at the far post. He slots it away with aplomb! 1-0! Listen to that, dear listeners. Then explodes. Femi Aziz! Blimey O'Reilly, I wasn't expecting that. That was a great move. Essa from the left side, I believe. Let's have a look on the screen. Ball comes flashing across the right side. Bradshaw's there, and Aziz slots it back across the goal into the net. Fantastic. Goalkeeper unable to get his feet to it to block that moment. About 2 minutes to go of added time, I make it. Then there's a cauldron of noise. Well, deserved equaliser. We've got to keep it tight. We've still got a couple of minutes here to play. So we've got to be on our guard. But a deserved equaliser. I think that the pressure we've had, the possession we've had in the second half, our mental approach, the whole approach to the line side in the second period deserved something. There it is, one each. Fantastic fighting second half by Millwall after a very disappointing first half. No more than we deserved. Brilliantly taken finish from Femi Aziz. The Sunderland players collapsed to the floor. I think they thought they'd done enough. A late equaliser by Millwall secures a point and continues a fantastic run against the top sides. Lucas Jensen waving goodbye to the Sunderland fans. Cheeky chappy. There it is. It finishes Millwall 1, Sunderland 1.
Achtung, Millwall.
Yeah, it felt great. First goal for obviously the club, and even special was at the Den as well. But yeah, no, it was great work from Idemo down the left, and I've done a lot of work with the coaches to tell me to get back into the back post area, and I said I'm getting in there today, and obviously it worked out. But yeah, no, it was pleasing.
Second half, and the tempo we played out, the quality we played out. We could pass the ball, we could play through teams, we could play around teams, we could play forward and pick up second balls. We had the whole lot second half, and ultimately I can't believe it took us to the 95th minute to score. But look, we had that moment. That's all matters.
Well, that was of course goal scorer Femi Aziz, and then manager Neil Harris speaking after that late dramatic equaliser on Saturday, dear listeners. Really nice move. Femi name-checked Idemo Imaku, who came on his pace when you watch that goal back. His pace really was the decisive factor. There was a really nice cross in from the left side to find Aziz at the far post, lurking, as he says, he's been working on in training, which is good to hear. But no, I thought it'd be worth mentioning that cross from Imaku, because it was a combination of strength and pace that really created that goal. And I've got to be honest with you, dear listeners, I didn't see that coming. I thought it was one of those games where, we'd really worked hard in the second half after a very, very mundane first half, in truth. I won't dwell on that, but we looked like little lost lambs falling in the water in the first half. Second half, after that medical break that I'll come on to in a moment, second half we looked a lot livelier. I'm not sure what it is that Neil Harris says in the dressing room, whatever it was, and the tactical changes, obviously bringing in Tom Bradshaw for a two-man front line, and then ever-increasing pressure with more and more forwards coming in, Holloway style, towards the end of the game, made a difference. But it was that strength, pace, and the decisive cross from Imaku. I mean, if we can see that developed from the boy, he's a little bit kind of he's been out in the wilderness slightly. Idemo, they had a difficult start to the season. No one really knows what kind of words were exchanged behind the scenes with the management at the Den, but clearly he's been, persona non grata for a little while at Millwall, and it was great to see Harris having the maturity to play him on Saturday, and for Idemo to take that chance, because you have to take chances in football, and I think he must have put himself back into contention now with Neil Harris after that decisive assist. So yeah, it finished 1-1. A game that I didn't think we'd get anything out of, in truth, as I've said already. The Football League paper, Jack James leads on the medical break that I've mentioned already. And I didn't know this. I mean, I sit in Block 1. Those of you who listen to the show regularly know I'm in Block 1, up in Birdshit Corner. And obviously we had the incident on the far side of the ground, which all I could tell you was that there was clearly attention being paid to a fan over in the Dockers Lower on the far side from me, and couldn't tell you much more about that other than what I described in the live piece. But below me, where I sit in Block 1, it seemed that a lady was taken ill. I don't know much more about what happened to her from there, but what I do read in the Football League paper is that Neil Harris praises the medical response for both fans, and also the fact that the Sunderland club doctor came upstairs to the West Upper. I imagine our doctor was over on the far side in the East Lower, in the Docker stand lower, and the Sunderland man came upstairs to attend to the fan with us, which I think is is fantastic. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to Sunderland AFC and to him personally for that, because I'm sure I speak for all of us in saying that's a really wonderful thing to do. I have no more news on, not really appropriate for us on this show to comment on the situation of both fans. I do want to wish them both well. As everyone knows, a few years ago I had my own little bit of trouble, and it was nice to get messages from people. Big shout out to Mickey Simpson for that message to ask if I was all right. Yeah, I am all right. It wasn't me, but I do want to send my best wishes to the lady concerned and to the chap on the far side, because it's amazing how your life can turn on a sixpence. So best wishes to them all. As Neil Harris says, we've all come to watch a game of football and enjoy it, and nobody should be going home in ambulances, so we wish them well. I join with him on that. Football, eh? Going back to the game, we were behind deservedly, I thought, in the first half. Less so in the second half. Hard-working second half with Bradshaw up front, and we turned the heat up on Sunderland as it went along. We didn't really create much in the way of decisive chances. We had a few shots on goal, which their goalkeeper was equal to. But I don't really remember much in the way of outright goal-scoring opportunities, dear listeners. I don't know if you'd agree with that. But we were nowhere near it in the first half. I managed to claw our way back in thanks to that late break via Idemo. Now, I'm a bit of a sucker for turnaround stories, resurrection men, as you might call them, and both Idemo Imaku has had his issues. I've mentioned them already, the clash of opinion, shall we say, with the club management at the start of the season. Didn't help his cause any. Bit of a forgotten man, really, wasn't he? I mean, he was in the squad a lot, but not featuring. So great to see him come in and great to see him make a decisive impact. It appeals to the romantic in me, the fact that you can, make use of that second chance. Really hope he grabs and takes that second chance. I think he's potentially a very, very dangerous player for us on the wing. Pace and power, what a combination. And also to a lesser extent, because he's come into his own in recent games, to Femi Aziz for scoring that goal. When he first appeared, I will put my hand up. I wasn't convinced by the boy when I first saw him. I know a lot of people online were, writing him off and putting him down. And it's great to see him shove those words back down everyone's throats, myself included. And I put my hand up to that. So well done, Femi Aziz. This is a fantastic storyline and exactly what football's all about. So a valuable point against a very decent side. I believe Sunderland were down by 4 or 5 first-choice players, so that wasn't exactly a second-string 11 that we were fielding, but it wasn't their first-choice 11. But so a valuable point, nevertheless. We've had a really good track record in recent times. I see, looking at the Football League paper, we're top of their form table, last 6 games, just in front of Middlesbrough, who had a fantastic win at Oxford yesterday, 6-2. We're top of the form table, 14 points from 6 games, which is, high returns. Scored 6, conceded just 2 goals in those 6 games. So that's the secret to it all. The point leaves us in 8th position on 24 points with Watford, and then West Brom in 6th spot on 26 points. So that's the kind of position that I think we would have given our right arms for back at the start of the season, as we start to go into the dark, cold month of November. Now then, listeners, I've got a few voice notes for this show. I've got a few more for a separate second show, which I'll be doing later on. But for the moment, let's begin our voice note sequence with regular caller Matt Richards. Take it away, Matt.
Nick, it's Matt Richards driving back from the game today. Before I start talking about the game, first of all, let's hope that those 2 medical emergencies, both your people are all okay. How unusual was that? Blimey, I don't think anyone's seen that. Both, 2 at once. Yeah, so weird day, really. Weird game. But what a great second half performance. Just I mean, and to score right in, obviously it's brilliant. Scoring in injury time, superb, and the crowd, what a great atmosphere as well. Sunderland fans came down in their numbers as you'd expect, and they were a lot loud, and it was a really good atmosphere. Under the floodlights, it was just it's a fantastic game of football, and I really enjoyed it. And even before the end, I was kind of thinking to myself, you know what, if we come out and we lose 1-0, because it didn't look like we were going to score, let's face it, or just didn't feel it was going to be our day. You know, I thought we were attacking well. I was thinking to myself, well, if we lose 1-0, I would have been happy with the performance, you know, especially second half. It would have been just one of those days where you just kind of think, well, you know, so you know, we lost to a half decent, and more of that later, Sunderland side. But yeah, I mean, just talking about that, I mean, the first half we were just so sloppy and misplaced passes, and I don't know, it's like Honeyman obviously I pick on Honeyman because Honeyman came off at half time, but it wasn't just him. Whether it's the break or whatever, we're just making errors, and how we were only 1-0 down. I mean, it could have been 2 or 3. So every time they were getting the ball into the box, they're like rabbits and headlights, and it's just a matter of time before they scored. But we kind of settled down before the end of the first half, even, and obviously then there was a stoppage. And the second half we just came out, obviously put Bradders on, and we just a different team. I mean, we had quite a few chances, really, not clear-cut chances, but you know, Tanganga's header, Bradshaw had a headed chance, Coburn had a shot, didn't he, and Casper. So loads of chances. I mean, Sunderland did a couple, but it felt just like one-way traffic, really. You know, the archetypal game of two halves, and yeah, just really enjoyed that second half, and to get a last minute or injury time equaliser was just absolutely brilliant. And it felt like come out. It felt like we should have been listening to Status Quo at the end of that, because it felt like a win, you know. And I think it's great. It sets us up really well for the rest of the week. Obviously, we've got you'd kind of say two winnable away games. Now we're kind of getting used to this, aren't we? Getting used to it, be up by the playoffs. Portsmouth and Oxford. Yeah, so if we get 4 points away from those two, then that's great, you know. And I'm just all along, I'm not going to get excited at all about playoffs. I don't think we're good enough this year. You know, it's not defeatist. I just think that's just where we are. If we're up there after Christmas, happy days, and let's go for it. But I'm just happy that we're playing some decent football. And today I'd say that actually against Leeds and Burnley, they were contained teams, and you know, we managed to come out with a 1-0 win. Today we were just all over Sunderland, and I know there are a few players out, but we were all over them second half. That was so exciting to see, you know. So if we can take that sort of form forward with us into the next couple of games, then who knows, really. So performances wise, I'll quickly go through the team. I thought Jensen played well, made some really important saves, kept us in the game. That was good. Tanganga, I think Tanganga was my man of the match. It's just unbelievable. He's just everywhere. Hutch, I was really pleased for him because he hasn't played properly, obviously, since the start of the season when we were shipping a few goals. It's a big game for him to come back in, and you know, I think it was his header, wasn't it, that they scored from in the first half. But it could have been a stronger header. But you know, I kind of think a goal like that, if we'd scored a goal like that, then we would be saying what a great goal. We wouldn't have said it was a defensive blunder. But I thought Hutch did well overall. Leonard, he was a bit sloppy at the start, a bit hesitant, but he kind of came back into it and he was solid as ever. Brian was absolutely useless. I mean, he didn't do anything. It's just these little flicks and it's just awful. I mean, he was a liability today. He really was. Midfield, thought Casper again didn't have a good first half. Misplaced passes, but second half did a lot better. Sav played well. Up front, Coburn was just like, you know, he fought all day long, really, without any such luck. So a couple of half chances, good shot actually. The keeper made a good save from long range. Watmore wasn't his most effective game. Didn't stop trying though. Remain, I'd say he got a bit of stick from a couple of the fans behind me, and we've got to be patient with him. You know, he's going to make. Sure, he tries to dribble too much, and his decision making, but it's the sort of stuff you kind of expect from a player of his age. So you've got to be patient with him. He's trying, he's trying his hardest. So I'm not going to dig him out at all. But yeah, and the subs, obviously, Z's really, really pleased with him. When he came on, it just seemed like he looks like a different player, totally different player. He's full of confidence. He looked a danger, a real threat when he came on. And pleased for Mako as well to get the cross. So yeah, fantastic second half performance. Really, really pleased with that. Yeah, great stuff. Cheers, Nick. Come on, you Lions.
Cheers, Matt. Stick for SA. I haven't heard any of that in the West Upper. Anyone that is giving SA stick, well, as the saying goes, give your head a wobble. Have a look at yourself. The boy is the most talented player I think I've seen in many, many years. I'm trying to think of a more talented, more obviously, clearly talented player than Romain Esse. A very different kind of player, but I'm thinking of players like Teddy Sheringham here in terms of raw ability, and Teddy's a very different player to Romain. Romain can take on and beat a man. Maybe going back to the likes of Jimmy Carter here, Gordon Hill, that kind of level. We are talking about a big time signing. So if you're giving Romain a bit of stick for trying to be Lionel Messi, as I think I saw someone put on X, Twitter, well, really, I mean, what's the saying? Fuck off to Charlton. Fuck off to Charlton. Nice piece there by Matt. Yeah, football is a really weird sport, isn't it? A late equaliser can make you feel like you win. I was trying to explain this. We was out for a lunch yesterday with some friends, and I was trying to explain to non-football fans how a late equaliser in dramatic circumstances where the den just explodes in this kind of massive emotion, how that can feel like a win. It's a very hard thing to explain to someone who's not in the fraternity, so to speak. Brilliant atmosphere. There's actually an interesting little clip. Phil Clark posted a clip from Gary Rowett's podcast. He's speaking to Dave Carolan, who I think was the fitness coach at the Den with Rowett during his tenure as manager. And there's a nice little clip talking about the effect and impact that the Den's atmosphere has both on opponents, clearly, but also on your own side. And the intensity and that kind of what Matt's just described there, the kind of ferocious desire to succeed that can even be damaging to your own players. And as I think as Carolan puts it, opponents only have to play in front of it once and they don't like it. Imagine having to play as a home player in front of that 24 times in the league season. It can be a powerful weapon, though. I mean, the point of the clip is that it is they put it, the 12th man, arguably even the 13th and 14th man on some occasions, because I think this is probably a good example where the wonderful atmosphere drove a team on when I was thinking the game was just out of our reach, and drove them on to that late finish, possibly against all odds. So we do have quite a weapon there. Matt mentions the emergencies. I'm sure others will mention the emergencies too. I've never known two medical emergencies going on at once. I wasn't at the Den for the incident in the Northampton game a few years ago, where one of ours keeled over in the East Stand. But that was quite an emotional clip. That was just one, and obviously there was the famous one with the Cardiff fan who fell from the upper decks. So there's only one at a time. So to have two going on, they sound like two fairly major incidents, put the medical team at full stretch. I've mentioned the Sunderland doctor already. Mention him again because that is fair play to come up and assist with the situation in the West Upper. So good stuff there, Matt. We're going to move along now. Let's have a listen to Aussie Dave. I missed you out the other day, Dave. I do apologise. I'm going to play your message now. I really appreciate it, mate.
Mick, Aussie Dave here after the Sunderland game. A proverbial game of two halves. What do we learn? We learned that the club and the team has a great spirit, really down to Bomber. And the team and the supporters together we're working together as one in that second half to get that goal. Great spirit. What else did we learn? We learned that Hutch isn't over the hill. We probably thought, could he play a whole game? Well, he did, and he's probably one of the best players on the pitch. So well done, Hutch. Whether he can do 3 games in a week, time will tell. What else did we learn? we've got a really strong bench, particularly with the attacking options, and it was all the substitutes that made our equalising goal. But what the bench also showed is we're pretty short on centre-backs. With Cooper getting injured, it's even highlighted that, but it was a fact even before that injury that we were short of central defenders, and it looks like people like Harding and Wallace are not getting a look in. What else did we learn? We learned quite a bit about individual players. I thought Aziz was excellent and should clearly be above Watmore on both their present forms. Second thing we learnt was with Honeywell. I'm a great Honeywell fan. Seems to have gone off the boil, and I think we may have to review that number 10 position in the short term. It's just not working with Honeywell, but it did previously. We also learnt something about Maku. Only came in for a couple of minutes, but really, without him, we wouldn't have equalised. He made that goal. And interestingly, after the game, when Bomber was interviewed by Max, and Max spoon-fed him, say, what do you think about our goal by Maku and Aziz? Interestingly, he didn't answer, but he didn't mention Maku. He did say, yeah, Aziz was good, so it's all very strange. But he did put him on, so a bit of a conundrum. And with individual players, I think we seem to have multiple man of the matches nowadays for our games. And I'd like to give a word for Hutch, for Jensen in goal, and probably my man of the match, Tanganga. He just put himself in everywhere. Finally, can I be a bit churlish, Nick? I know you like those funny long words once in a while. We were Sunderland were missing 5 of their best players. And the supporters before the game were saying, oh, if they're lucky, they may get a point. So really, it was, for us, it was a real missed opportunity, probably let down by that first half performance. Anyway, times are good. Come on, you Lions.
Terrific stuff, Dave. Yeah, but that's not churlish. It's a fact. They did have 5 of their first choice players out, and it was a chance. We just didn't get it right in the first half. For whatever reason, I think that there's this endless kind of debate, Dave, isn't there, about what formation we should take up. And Harris started with the one up front, Josh Coburn, who I like. Nice player, physical player. He was being physically manhandled all through the first half. The ball wasn't sticking up front. We were just second best in all departments. And I think, in fairness, the wingers for Sunderland were giving poor old Ryan Leonard a bit of a torrid time. It's one of the most fraught experiences I think he's had all season. So I thought they were a good side. If that's their second string, or 1.5 string, shall we call it, that's a pretty good turnout on their part, and they were well marshalled. Second half, no, we took the game to them. I'd love to know what kind of Churchillian, or as I was listening to in my car coming over, Lord Nelsonian style speeches that Neil Harris makes in that dressing room, because we did come out fired up, ready for action in the second half after the nearly half an hour break, and then you had half time. So it was a long break in proceedings. But we certainly came out fired up. The only thing I would say, and I agree with you, Dave, is that if there is still an issue between Aidemo Imaku and Neil Harris, then it needs to get sorted, because it strikes me that Aidemo is a powerful, fast striker. Now, he possibly, he's a youngster, he's a young guy, possibly his ego makes his mouth go into overdrive, I don't know, and maybe Neil Harris likes a certain type of player that doesn't tell him how good he is. I don't know, this is all like my old nan used to make little familial dramas out of conversations with, disfavoured girlfriends and almost construct soap opera dramas, even though she wasn't witness to anything. I'm doing the same now for Neil Harris and Aidemo Imaku. So we don't really know, but if it is odd, I do agree that if he's not mentioned Aidemo's cross, then he's doing him a disservice, because that was a goal created and finished. I mean, it's got to be finished by Femi Aziz, and I agree he's got to start. I do think the same as that, Dave. But that cross and the run was a thing of beauty by Aidemo Imaku. So you mentioned Hutch as well. I haven't mentioned Hutchinson. I thought he did really well. I've seen the goal back in real time. I wasn't aware of the slightly weak header out of defence. I mean, maybe that's just lack of sharpness. I think that across the whole game, I couldn't fault him. Equally, the chance when it fell to the Sunderland striker on the edge of the D was really well taken. Probably wasn't much anyone could have done about that. A directed header away from the area, yeah, all right, give you that. But I still think that Hutch has got it. And let's hope that Jake Cooper isn't out for the kind of periods that were being kicked around in the car park outside. But we'll see. But he's certainly a good stand-in whilst we're a little bit short. Yeah, the centre-back question. Obviously, we've got boys on loan. Is it Chinakoli? Is he still at Bromley or has he gone to Sutton? And the others, Wes Harding and Murray Wallace, not seen as, not seen as up to the job. Even I suppose Ryan Leonard could play more centrally, but whether that's he's seen as a right back now, I don't know. It's a poser. Let's hope that Jake is not out for too long. Let's go with Rob Woodford now, dear listeners, and then finish off with Jim Hackett. So first Rob, then Jim.
Hi Nick, Rob Woodford from Block 4. A quick summing up yesterday's game. If ever there was a game of two halves, that was it yesterday, wasn't it, mate? And to be honest, when the team was announced at 2:00, we're all scratching our heads wondering what's happened to Big Jake, and that's going to be a massive blow. And you wonder, most of us were wondering how Hutch is going to get through 3 games in 1 week. And we didn't even have Wes Harding on the bench. But, that's it. We've got a squad now, and we just got to get on with it until the transfer window. We needed a centre-back anyway. Well, perhaps we need a couple now. But that first half, that frantic, wasn't it, at times? We just couldn't get any composure going and overhitting passes. We couldn't seem to slow the game down. It was like, there was headless chickens out there. And the free kicks, we're back to the old lumping it into the box. The last game against Stoke, that was a refreshing free kick, which Ryan Wintle took out to the wing with Femi Aziz cross for our goal. Let's shake it up a bit with the free kicks. And, we were on the back foot for 45 minutes and it was like, it didn't look like Sunderland were, as good as the Burnley or the Leeds performances they got, and it was like, who was Sunderland this season? There's the surprise packet, a team we finished above last season. And a lot of youngsters out there as well. So obviously they had quite a few injuries. But what a second half. It was really, encouraging to see us having a go, and finishing with 5 or 6 forwards on the park. It looked like something from the Ian Holloway coaching manual, but it did the trick, and a big shout out to the gaffer for that, because it kept our unbeaten run going. 8 games now without defeat, and long may it continue when we get down to Portsmouth on Wednesday night. Also, the sponsors made Casper Denor the man of the match, and he had a fantastic second half. But it was a case, I think, on this occasion for having a man of the match of the first half and a man of the match of the second half, because Jensen was our man of the match in the first half, wasn't he? And you could have a number of Jaffet Tanganga as well. What another great performance from him. So we roll on to two away games now, and would have been nice to get a few points from those 2 games and keep it going. Long may this continue. Speaking with some pride, Nick, this morning after that performance, you come away and it felt like a win, and that's always a good thing, isn't it? And by the way, I hope the people that were taken ill yesterday are on the road to recovery. And a big shout out to you, mate. And another great wall talk with Ben Thompson. I thought that was really good, very engaging. And do you know what, mate? You are a smooth operator.
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. Just a few thoughts on yesterday's game and the great equaliser at the end. So hopefully everybody was a bit happier last night than we were at half time. So I think firstly, I just want to hope that the two fans that fell ill, and we had all the kerfuffle going on with the medical staff and everybody before half time. I hope they're both okay and got a little lift by the end of the game just to help them on the road to recovery. So good luck to them too. As for the game of two halves, wasn't it? It was the first half. I've got this feeling that every time we go into an international break and we're sort of all firing on all cylinders, we get to the international break, come out of it, and the other side is always us starting slowly, looking poor, and then we have to build it up again to get going. And the first half was an absolute shambles, I thought. I've never seen Leonard and Brian just getting ripped apart time after time, and no matter what they were trying to do, the passing wasn't coming off, the movement wasn't great. Honeyman kept giving the ball away. It was like he's still a Sunderland player of the first half, I think. And you can't blame the players because ultimately they're giving 100%, but something's wrong that they just can't settle themselves down. And I don't know what it was, but I think half-time came at a good point for us. I think just before half-time, when we were getting that break from the people who fell ill, I think we were just sort of getting back into the game. And then the second half, we came out totally different side and looked like we wanted to go for it. And with the best will in the world, Sunderland can't moan about us getting an equaliser because the second half, we absolutely battered them. And we didn't have any standout chances, I don't think, until we got the goal. There was a couple of half chances where possibly the people could have done better, but we still didn't look like scoring, but at least we kept going and going. And I think if we're going to give Neil Harris a bit of credit, the substitutions he made were fantastic for us because he brought attacking players on, kept us going forward. And if anything, I think he probably could have made them slightly earlier, but it's churlish to say that he made it at the wrong time because ultimately we got our goal. Maybe with another 5-6 minutes we might have got a second, but I think the way our sort of team plays, the chances are they might have got a second as well, and it would have all been for nothing. So ultimately, it was a good finish to the game, and I think those substitutes, especially Adamo and Aziz, setting up that equaliser was fantastic for them. I think Marco, hopefully he's learnt from when he did come on and let himself down earlier in the season. He's had to wait a long time for that chance to get back in, and he certainly took it. It's whether now he can do it on a regular basis because what a great bench we had. All those attackers that could come on. Langstaff came on, did okay. The Serb came on. I thought he played very well when he came on. So, there's hope for the future there as well. When Coburn does get injured, which it looks like he might have done, we have got an option there to bring somebody on who's similar. And he works his knackers off and certainly puts himself about like all good Serbian centre-forwards do. I think we missed Cooper, and I think as good as Hutchinson played, I think we still miss Cooper, not just for well, I can't say just for his leadership because I don't think he's a greatest leader, but his presence in our side at the back seems to calm everybody down, especially Tanganga, who I thought for the first half looked a little bit out of sorts, playing in a slightly different position. I think the good thing was, though, he came out of it, and the second half, he was fantastic, along with Hutchinson. I think both of them really did fantastically well. And everybody played their part in the second half. The substitutes, the whole team, all looked to be going forward, all looked to get going and get us on the front foot throughout it. But for me, the man of the match on my side of it would have been Jensen because he kept us in the game in the first half. He made no spectacular saves, but everything he had to do, he did, and he did it well. So for me, he did it for the 90 minutes. I think he's took a lot of flack, early in the season, but now he's showing what a good goalkeeper he is, and he's giving us that solidity at the back that hopefully the back four, as they go along, will get sort of better and better, because I think Cooper's out for a while, so the likelihood is that Hutch will be in there and that'll be a back four for a while. Ironic, really, that last season when Sunderland came down, we were the ones that were 1-0 up until sort of the injury time at the end, and then they got their non-penalty that ended up being a penalty and got their equaliser, and this time we got our equaliser. So I don't think they could have too much to moan about. I thought our team spirit showed really well, and whatever Harris is doing there, he's certainly got them all fighting for the shirt and fighting for everybody else. And for me, it's all built upon the fact that we've got attackers on the bench now, and we can keep going, and we get our reward in the end. And I think for anybody that's still moaning and groaning, they're always going to do that at Millwall. But our side are showing that they're not bad. They can play decent football when they're allowed. But for me, I think if we can just get that first 15, 20 minutes when we're at home and get on top of teams, because I think recent games we've just always started slowly. I don't know what it is that does that, but something we've got to get past. But apart from that, a great result, a great night, I think, for everybody in the Millwall fan side, and on to Pompey during the week. So come on, you Lions.
Huge thank you to Jim and to Rob before him, and indeed to everyone who sent me voice notes. There will be another show, dear listeners. Obviously, this is the kind of match coverage and then post-match comments that I've put into this one, but there will be another show going out, part 2, shall we call it, of the voice notes. So if you haven't heard your voice message on this show, you will surely hear it in the other one that will come later on, possibly tomorrow morning by the time I do it. Man of the match, yeah, I mean, both Rob and Jim mentioned various names, and I think you can probably take your pick. The Football League paper went with Jensen, and I think Jim named as his man of the match. He's another one. I've already said my own, my foible for romantic stories of comebacks, the likes of Idemo Emarku and Femi Aziz, difficult starts, coming good. I think we're all a bit of a sucker. It's almost Disney style, isn't it? So also Lucas Jensen, who had a mare of a start of the season, didn't he? Looked all over the place and is now increasingly looking like he commands his area. And I think, following on from some of the comments that I've mentioned, about the intensity of playing in front of a den crowd and the unforgiving nature of our support, but also the massive support when you're playing well, I think it took him a while, Lucas, to adjust to that. He's come from Lincoln City, which is, is by nowhere near as intense a club as we take for granted. And I think it can take players a while to find their feet in a place like Millwall. And I think Lucas is a great example of that. Increasingly, I think he's feeling like he deserves and is entitled, and this is his penalty area. It's his. And it takes a while for a goalkeeper to get... I mean, even Matthias Sarkic last season, dear listeners, took him a while to actually find his feet, to feel like he was the man in, his commanding players of stature in front of him, such as Tanganga, such as Hutchinson, Cooper, and Ryan Leonard, and so on, Danny Mack, Joe Bryan. Joe Bryan does divide opinion. I don't think it was his best game on Saturday, and many will be the riposte when is his best game. Maybe he should stick to drinking his coffee. Full disclosure, I'm a Danny Mack fan. He's one of our own. Defensively, he looks far more solid than Joe Bryan does. I imagine Joe Bryan is in the side for his attacking qualities, but I don't see an awful lot of evidence of that, dear listeners. There's one or two reasonably flighted balls in from him yesterday from free kicks, dead ball situations, but I don't think it's his strong suit. I don't know. As long as we are continuing our unbeaten run, which now is 6 or 7 games now, I haven't got the numbers to hand, then I suppose he's there as of merit. But he does divide opinion. Medical breaks, international breaks don't do us any favours. The medical break did do us a favour yesterday. Best wishes to both fans, as Jim says, but I think that did give us an opportunity to reset. Certainly, it was an extended break. I think there was a few possibly frank exchanges of views in the dressing room, and we did come out, fired up. Whatever Neil Harris sells in that in that dressing room, if it could be bottled, then it would be worth a fortune. But fantastic second half performance. The rest of it, I think we've touched on overall. So big thank you to Rob. Ben Thompson's wall talk. Rob mentioned Ben Thompson's wall talk. Yeah, great episode. Really nice bloke, Ben. I didn't know what to expect when I went into do that show. In common with many of the other shows I've done with the club, the Wall Talk shows, it's all arranged by Millwall. I just basically show up as a kind of a pundit, if that's the right word, on the panel there. The guests are arranged by the club. And each one, because I've had no input, I mean, I know a little bit about them as players and memories of them playing for the Lions, but I certainly don't know them as men, as people. So in each of the ones that I've been really fortunate to be involved with this season, I've gone in there rather blank, and I didn't know Ben. I know something of his story, the stuff that you read online and as a player, but really nice bloke, intelligent boy as well. It was an interesting conversation with Ben. I do recommend anyone that hasn't had a chance to see it, take a look. I thought he came across really well, and same with each of the guests we've had on. So a big thank you to Rob for those kind words. Listeners, I want to close with just a few words of, I hope, comfort to Dan Goodwin, Lions TV Dan, who lost his father very recently. He posted the news on his Instagram channel. I think he's back doing his show now. I just want to send my best wishes to Dan. That not easy to lose your parents, and it comes to us all in the end. And it's a big moment in your life. So condolences to you, Dan, and to your family, mate. And I hope that goes for everybody that listens to this show too. So best wishes go to Dan, Lions TV. There it is. That's the end of part one of this coverage of the 1-1 draw with Sunderland on Saturday. Probably a little bit late, dear listeners. I had one or two things to do over the weekend, so I've not had the chance to do any recording. Hopefully there'll be a part two show later on today. That may go out tomorrow morning. Big thank you to everyone that's contributed to the show. I really do appreciate it. On to Pompey on Wednesday night. Let's see what we get there, and then Oxford for that 12:30 kickoff next Saturday. I can't get to either game, dear listeners, but any voice notes will be much appreciated. Give me a shout on Twitter. You can direct message me on Twitter, and you can send voice notes on Twitter that way. That's fine. Or give me a shout and we can exchange mobile numbers, and voice notes sent to me via WhatsApp are very, very handy indeed. So really appreciate everyone that's contributed. If you want to join the contributors gang, then hit me up, as they say. Anything post Pompey and post Oxford would be really, really useful. I'll be putting shows out based on what I've seen myself on TV, but also the voice notes from those that want to send them to me. So big thank you to everyone for listening and tuning in. Until the next edition of Achtung Millwall from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall, and bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.